It's that time again. It's time for some predictions. And today we're going to look at Extreme Rules 2022. And shockingly, there's actually some Extreme Rules matches on the card. I know, crazy. Some stipulations on an Extreme Rules match. What? So, let's get right into this. So, the first one that I'm going to go over, and I'm just going to kind of work through each match as they kind of got listed on the website on the card at the moment. So the one they've got at the top is SmackDown's Women's Championship, which is Liv Morgan versus Ronda Rousey in an Extreme Rules match. Now, I'm not 100% sure which way this is going to go. I have a feeling that Ronda's just going to destroy Liv Morgan here, and this is going to be the end for Liv. It's a little bit of a shame. Liv's run's not been the best, but I think they wrecked it with the SummerSlam tap out roll up scenario. Liv's never fully, for me anyway, recovered from that, and Ronda is Ronda, and she is doing some good work here. And these two will put on a very good match, but I think it's going to be very hard hitting, and I think that Liv Morgan is just going to get destroyed by Ronda Rousey, if I'm honest. I think there's going to be some nice spots in this. I think she's going to just take a beating and hopefully gets a little bit more over again in defeat here. Hopefully it's one of those scenarios where she takes such a beating that you kind of can't do anything else but, feel for her and want her to do well in the future, and hopefully she'll get another shot at the title later down the line. A little bit later into her career, she's done it once, she can definitely do it again, sort of thing. So hopefully that's the direction they go here, and I think that's how they probably will do things, if I'm honest. I think Ronda is going to have to get that title, I think, as well. She's the sort of person that will demand it and need that in her life and just want to run at the top, be at the top of the card like she is, but with that title around her waist. And then we've got the Raw Women's Championship match, which is Bianca Belair versus Bayley, which I think is, for me, it's one of those matches that I am actually really looking forward to seeing, right? I think Bianca Belair and Bayley in a traditional match would be good. I think the ladder match would be good. Yes, I feel the ladder match in recent times is overplayed, but I think here it's that nice scenario that Bayley has picked this stipulation and put this stipulation forward because she doesn't feel that she can beat Bianca Belair one-on-one. Yes, she's pinned her, but only with the help of her team. So to do that one-on-one, to take the title, heel Bayley doesn't necessarily believe that she can do that. So she's put a clever tactic in place to pick a stipulation that doesn't involve her having to pin the champ. She wins it via the ladder match. Now, knowing these two women, I say knowing like I'm friends with them, but knowing what they're capable of, I think we're going to get something special here. And I'm really hoping we get something special here. There are obviously always rumours that Sasha Banks returns to have some sort of involvement at the end of this match. I don't know if we're going to get that, if I'm honest. Even if, say, Bayley wins and you've got damage control with all the gold, and then you get Sasha and Naomi back for Bianca Belair to team with them, there's talks of that, and it would kind of make sense in a booking scenario, but I don't know if that is what we're going to get here. For me, if I was going to bring Sasha back, and if they were able to bring her back and she wants to come back, I'd do it at the Rumble. We're not that far away at this point. That, for me, would be a bigger reaction, a bigger surprise pop than doing it at Extreme Rules. But I could be proven wrong. Who knows? Who knows, right? But I think the winner for me here is Bayley. I think we could do Bayley here and we could run it back in multiple scenarios. You don't necessarily have to run it back straight away. But Bayley winning in a ladder match, you allow for some interference and some shenanigans. And she goes on and she has the Women's Championship range that she deserves here. Bayley is absolutely fantastic. One of my favourite wrestlers on the planet. I think she's brilliant. I think all the work she did during the Thunderdome era, fantastic. And let's reward it now. Let's give her what she deserves. Let's give her that run. I think Bianca Belair's had a great run with the title. Let's give it to Bayley now. Let's put it on Bayley. Let's have damage control running wild. Let's see what we can do with that side of things. And then we've got a match that I'm really intrigued about. So this is Matt Riddle versus Seth frickin' Rollins inside of a fight pit with Daniel Cormier as the special guest referee. Now, I'm excited for this for a few reasons. Obviously, there's an entertaining stipulation there. It's the fight pit. could be a little bit more hard hitting, which suits Matt Riddle's style. Seth Rollins can adapt to pretty much any style. I think we know he's one of the best workers on the planet, right? I don't think many people would disagree with me. If you do, let me know. I'd like to hear your argument as to why, but I think we all kind of, the majority of us are in agreement, he's one of the best workers on the planet, so can adapt to pretty much any style or situation at this point. So I think we're going to get something really hard hitting here, especially now they've got the freedom to do so under the creative reign of Triple H. And we've got the special guest referee of Daniel Cormier, DC for short, which is really, really cool, right? It gives it that legitimacy. Daniel Cormier, for those of you who don't know, former UFC heavyweight champion. And he is not just any kind of MMA guy. He's always been someone that is very vocal about his love for pro wrestling and especially WWE. And this is the first time we're seeing him. I think over the years we might get to see him a little bit more. I think this will be a nice little foray. I don't know if they're going to, overbook this and Rousey it and have him involved in some way in the finish. Not sure. I don't really want that, if I'm honest. I kind of want him to play it straight, be a impartial referee. No shenanigans either way. Doesn't really need to get involved. Doesn't really need to lay a hand on anyone. Potentially you could have him lay a hand on someone after the match if you really wanted to show what he's kind of capable of. I can imagine DC probably wants to do something with him in the fight pit, but I don't want to see him too much involved because I want to see him used again multiple times. I'd also like to see him get involved on commentary. If you don't watch UFC, he's great at commentary for the UFC, and I think he could bring the passion he clearly has for WWE out on some commentary things. It'd be nice to see him involved in certain things, so it's nice to just have him involved here. And I think the match that we'll get between Riddle and Rollins is going to be outstanding. Now, who am I going to put over in this? It's a tricky one, right? It's a tricky one. But I think they're going to pull the trigger on Seth going over here. I just have that feeling that they think he deserves it. And I think that's the direction that we're going to go. And that's what I'm going to stick to. I'm going to make that decision. I'm going to go with Rollins on that one. Then next on the list is Drew McIntyre versus Karrion Kross in a strap match. And this, I thought I'd be way more excited for this. I love Drew McIntyre. If you've watched any of my other videos, you know I'm a big fanboy of Drew. Karrion Kross, I'm not the biggest fan of, but I understand the character. I like the portrayal of the character, especially now under Triple H. But I thought because I kind of like these two and I like the direction we were sort of going, I'd be way more enthralled in this match. I think there's been some fun bits leading into it, but I don't really care, if that makes sense. I feel like this is one of those matches where I'm like, okay, Drew's coming off the back of a loss to Roman. He's going to go into this match and probably put Karrion Kross over because it would make sense if you bring Karrion Kross in and you're portraying him as this killer, cerebral assassin almost. It would make sense to have Karrion Kross go over, and I think Triple H is a very big fan of Karrion Kross, and that's why he's brought it back, giving him the persona that he once had in NXT, and he's going to push him. So it would be a bit strange in his first high-profile match here against Drew in a strap match to make him lose, because it wouldn't really do much for Drew. I don't think Drew's going to be back going for the title on Roman anytime soon. I think there's other directions at play there. He'll be in and around the top, but I think this is a better place for him putting over Karrion Kross here as we move Karrion Kross forward in whatever happens. Now, the rumours are we're going to get the White Rabbit reveal stuff at Extreme Rules, and people, myself included, think that's going to be Bray Wyatt. There is a lot of talk and rumour and innuendo that potentially he's going to be aligned with Karrion Kross and some other people. I don't know if that is what we're going to get, if I'm perfectly honest. I think we're going to get Bray Wyatt in some guys. Do I know where and when that's going to be? No, this match, looking at there's this and another match that we'll come on to that would make sense, I guess, for him to somehow get involved in. But I don't know. I don't feel he's going to be fully aligned with Karrion Kross. Yes, there would be a cool kind of crossover in terms of styles and the way they're portrayed, and they could work well together depending on what Bray Wyatt version we get. But I don't think that's the place to do this, if I'm honest. I think we're going to just get we're going to get a very hard-hitting match. These two are going to probably beat each other half to death in this match, and they're going to have bumps and bruises to show for it afterwards. And it's going to be an entertaining ride, but I think Karrion Kross is going over, and I think that's as simple as it's going to be. And we're going to move the Karrion Kross storyline forward, whatever direction we go, as we kind of move him up and up the card. I think that's where we're going to go. Which then brings me on to the other match where I feel like it would make sense for Bray Wyatt to return, and that's Edge versus Finn Balor. And there's a couple of reasons for this. So obviously, The Fiend has prior with Finn. Obviously, the SummerSlam match where he essentially broke his neck and sent him to NXT for a while. So there's previous there, but I don't think he's going to be involved in attacking Finn. For me, if Bray Wyatt's coming back, he wants high-profile things, and I don't feel, and I think we've seen this before, you put him in the title picture, it gets messy pretty quick because the way Bray works, everything has to lead to him winning. And I don't think they're going to have Roman drop a belt to Bray. I just don't see that happening. But what I do see happening is him being involved against Edge. That is a very high profile match that he could go on and win. And Edge loves a bit of the dark, a bit of the macabre. So having him versus Bray, whatever version of Bray, this new version, is it The Fiend, whatever it is, would make sense. There were even rumblings at the start of this that the White Rabbit was Edge, which would be then a nice touch to make it Bray going against Edge. I think that would be really nice. It would work really well. We could get a nice storyline going into future pay-per-views here. And because it's an I Quit match, you need something big to make one of these two guys quit. Finn Balor, we all know, is not necessarily a guy who's going to quit easily. Yeah, he's a heel at the moment, but he's still portrayed as a tough dude, right? We all know him in real life to be a very tough guy. Edge is very similar. Edge as a character especially is not going to say I quit unless we get something big. And how do we do that? Do we dive into Edge's past, into his injuries, into what's inside of his psyche that Bray Wyatt could get to? And that, for me, is where I'm hoping we get Bray. I think that'll be an interesting spin on it for him to somehow be in the mind of Edge. However they do that, I'm obviously not saying he goes into his mind palace. I think some of those days are a little bit behind us now. We're out of the Thunderdome era. But I think they could do something quite nice there. Or you essentially have him do that and he scares Finn Balor half to death because he's broken his neck before. But I'm hoping we get the Edge version of that. And for that reason, I think Finn Balor's going over. And I think Judgment Day, again, due to all the reports, they're getting pushed further and further up the card. They seem to have a direction now, which is nice because they were a bit directionless when they started, even with Edge on their side. So now it's nice to kind of see they've got a bit of a direction, and that would, again, boost Judgment Day and validate Finn Balor going over to Judgment Day and them getting rid of Edge by the new leader of the Judgment Day beating the old. Be a nice little, wrap a little bow on it, move them on. And then we've got the Brawling Brutes versus Imperium in a 6-man tag, good old-fashioned Donnybrook match. I feel like this is going to be one of those matches that we all remember. If you look at the talent involved, it has the potential to be like match of the night. It has potential to be 5 stars. And I hope that's what we're going to get. You've got Gunther. I still want to call him Walter. I'm sorry, guys. It's just in my brain. We've got Gunther and Imperium. Like, they can put on a show against anyone. You've got Sheamus, Pete Dunne. Like, they're both 2 outstanding workers there. So I think they're going to just nail each other, if I'm honest. I think it's going to be hard hitting what we got last time, but there's going to be some more high-flying spots involved from when it was obviously Sheamus versus Gunther at Clash of the Castle, and they just beat each other after death. I think we'll get more of that, but I think there'll be some nice high-flying spots thrown in, given some of the talent that's involved here. They'll be able to tell a nice story throughout. It'll be very believable, and it'll work fantastically well. And this, for me, is one of the matches that I'm most looking forward to. Yes, I'm really looking forward to the Bianca Belair Bayley match, which going into this I wouldn't necessarily thought, but right now I'm hyped for that. I think they're going to put on a show. I think they've determined, and I think this is another one. I think eyes are on Sheamus at the moment. People are starting to realise how much of a good worker he is. Now, given the space to work how he wants, same with Gunther. I think those two are like, let's steal the show here. Let's show what we're capable of again. Let's make people care about us, make people care about the mid-card at the moment. And this is a great way to do that and escalate things moving forward. Who am I going to put over? Personally, I want to put Imperium over, just because I love Imperium. I think they're a great stable. I think they always have been, and having them back as a proper united front is great. So I'm picking Imperium to go over here, go over strong. I think there won't necessarily be shenanigans. I think it'll be clean. I think it'll be through the teamwork of those. I think it'll be through riding up the brawlers. So, brawling brutes, I should say. So I'm going to pick Imperium to go over. I think we get a visual pinfall from Gunther, probably over Sheamus, if I'm honest. I think they do that again. They try and put that to rest there. And you can run this back at a later date. They'll probably continue it. It's WWE. There'll be some guys to why they want to continue this, because it's exciting and entertaining. Probably throw in some more stables along the way, see where we get with this. But I'm putting over Imperium here. But it's interesting. I think going into this card, and for once it's an Extreme Rules pay-per-view where every match has a stipulation, right? Whereas before there'd be one match that had a stipulation and it would probably be like an Extreme Rules match. That wouldn't be very extreme or use the stipulation to elevate the match in any way. Whereas this year, under Triple H regime, everyone's got a stipulation. We've got Extreme Rules, we've got ladder matches, we've got Fight Pit, we've got a strap match, we've got an I Quit match, we've got a Donnybrook match. Let's see what we can do here. Now, under Vince McMahon, these monthly pay-per-views, they'd actually found their footing a little bit. They were fun. And that was because they had a little bit more freedom on these shows from when they were on TV to just wrestle. It became about wrestling a little bit. Not necessarily as much as I think they'll have now, which excites me even more. This is very much a Triple H pay-per-view. You think we had SummerSlam where it was still kind of written by Vince. Obviously we had the Triple H input there to show he's moving forward. We had Clash at the Castle, which I think he nailed. I think that was a really good pay-per-view. Obviously I'm biased, I'm in the UK, so of course I loved it. And then this, now moving into this, we've had some good TV leading up to it. I do feel like it peaked almost too soon in this run. I feel like if this card had been 2 weeks ago, boom, we'd have been into it, and it would have been really, the hype for it would have been higher than it is right now. It's kind of simmering, but that's a problem that you're always going to get with wrestling. You can peak too soon. It's very easy to do that. So this is a big test for what Triple H can deliver here. It's what would be classed as a B-level show. It's not SummerSlam, it's not a Royal Rumble, it's not WrestleMania. It's an Extreme Rules card. But everything there has the potential to be really, really entertaining in the ring and to move storylines forward. And if any of you know Triple H, he loves to keep things moving forward. He loves stories. So let's see what direction we're going to go in. I think this is very much table dressing for the lead up to the Royal Rumble. And off the back of that, the lead up to WrestleMania under Triple H's vision. So this is very much that setting the scene for what's to come. So I'm looking forward to it. My matches of the night, I'm going to pick them now. I'm going to say the Imperium match and the Raw Women's title match. They're my two that I'm looking forward to the most currently. Will that be the case once we've watched the show? You let me know what you think. What are the matches you're looking forward to see? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe to German Suplex.